If you sell a house inherited from a ladybird deed with multiple owners slash inheritors, can one person get the money and distribute to the others? If there's a mortgage, who is responsible for the taxes? So there's multiple things going on in this question. Let's start with the first part. If you sell a house inherited from a ladybird deed that has multiple beneficiaries on the deed or remaindermen, can one person get the money and distribute it to the others? Well, the way it actually works with the ladybird deed that lists multiple remaindermen, that's the name that the deed uses for essentially the beneficiaries. The way it works is all of you end up owning the property in whatever percentages that's on the deed. So once the owner of the property or owners of the property pass away, then the property automatically becomes the property of whoever is listed on that deed as the remaindermen. So you're all owners, which means when you go to sell the home, you're all going to be the sellers and you're going to get distributions from the sale according to the closing documents. So it's not like a trust where you will often have one person who manages the assets of the trust, or called the trustee, who would sell a property and then distribute the proceeds from the sale to the beneficiaries. You're actually all going to be on the title. So you're all going to be the owners and you're all going to be responsible for assisting with the sale, and then the distribution happens through the closing of the sale. There isn't going to be typically one person who's going to be spearheading that and then distributing the funds. All right, the second question, if there's a mortgage, who is responsible for the taxes? So you may be asking two questions here. One, if there's a mortgage, who's responsible for the mortgage? Well, if you're selling the property, the mortgage is typically satisfied upon the sale. It's not a bad idea for the new owners, the remaindermen on the deed, the beneficiaries, to keep up the mortgage payments if you're able to and not let it go into arrears. If you all can agree on doing that, that would be beneficial. But either way, the mortgage company should obviously be notified that the plan is to sell the house, which it sounds like it is in this scenario. And then when the house is sold, whatever balance there is on the mortgage would be satisfied at the sale. Responsible for taxes, there can be lots of taxes, so that's a little too vague for me to answer. I mean, there's going to obviously be certain closing costs, which can be apportioned between the seller and the buyer, and that's through agreement of the sellers and the buyers. Property taxes, if you're talking about that, so if there are property taxes on the property, again, a good idea to keep those up. So the beneficiaries, the new owners of the home, you can split that if you're all going to be splitting in the proceeds of the sale, or maybe you can have an agreement that if one person is paying the property taxes, they get paid more upon the closing of the property. If that person trusts the others to, allow them to get paid more. You can have some kind of agreement amongst each other if you are talking about property taxes. But without knowing a little bit more about what specific types of taxes you're talking about, that part of the question is a little difficult for me to answer. So I hope this helped, and it did answer at least most of the question. And if you have any other questions about ladybird deeds, estate planning, asset protection, elder law, probate, and you are in Florida, don't hesitate to contact our law office. We're atCAUSE Law Office, the non-stuffy attorneys. We're located in Clearwater, Florida, and the link is in my bio.